babies. I know why you're here. You know why you're here. So let's just jump right into this. So you've probably heard of the Dragon Age franchise with Veilguard coming out last year. And while you are probably wanting to play all of the games, you're going to want to start with Origins. So while Origins is the first game in this series, it was created in 2009, and it is unfortunately not without its bugs and hiccups, despite what a fantastic game that it is. That being said, because of how old this game is, it's virtually impossible to play unmodded. Whether you just want to improve the appearance, restore some story dialogue, or fix the game crashes, if you're going to play Origins, you're going to have to mod it. When I first started diving into Origins, I found that there really was no in-depth comprehensive guide for how to properly mod this game. I found a bunch of videos, but it was kind of just everything I had to piece together with like several different videos. And so that's kind of where this video is coming in. I'm really going to walk you through it. I'm going to hold your hand. We're going to go through from start to finish, whether you just want to fix a couple of bugs or whether you want to go full enchilada and completely overhaul your game. Whatever your needs are, I've got you. We're going to get right into this, okay? So let's go. Okay, so before we start doing any heavy lifting with mods and downloading everything under the sun, what we first need to do is we need to give our mods a nice comfy little home. So we're going to do this by creating a folder called Override and placing it in our Dragon Age pathway within our documents. So let me walk you through the process. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to pull up your folders and you're going to go to Documents. You're going to find your BioWare folder, click BioWare for me, go into Dragon Age, then you're going to find Packages, then go into Core, and then you should have something that looks a little something like this. Now, if you've never modded this game before, if you've kind of just recently downloaded it and you haven't really touched it or played around with it, you won't have an override folder in here, which is what we're doing now. We're going to create one. I already have one because I've modded the hell out of this game, but if you haven't, all you need to do is go to New Folder, and then you're going to type in Override for me. I'm going to delete this because I don't need it. I already have one, but if you're new, like I said, go ahead and make your override folder. We're going to come back to this later because this is where all of your mods are going to go. This is their little home. And before we jump into the next step, what I need you to do, this is important, please don't skip it. I'm going to need you to pin override to your quick access. So this folder will look blank for you if you've never done this before, but I just need you to go to these 3 bullets up here and then go pin to quick access. And that way you have this for easy grabbing in the future because you're going to be coming in here a lot and it's a mess if you have to keep going in and doing BioWare Dragon Age packages and all that stuff. So just do me a quick favor and pin this to quick access and then we'll move on to the next step. So now that we have our override folder created, we're going to do the next step, which is just a little bit of housekeeping. We are going to download 7-zip and a Chargenmorph compiler. So first things up is 7-zip. So 7-zip is an alternative software to extracting zip folders. Even if you have a computer that will extract your zip folders for you, you still need 7-zip because some of the mods on Nexus are going to require it due to some files kind of getting lost in translation and not unzipping properly if you're using just like the Windows extractor. So trust me and head over to 7-zip's download page and then download the proper software for your computer. So for me, that would be this very first link. I'm just going to click it and then boom, there it is. Install that sucker. And once it's installed, you're good to go. Now you have the option to be able to use 7-zip when you are unpacking all of your mods. Next, you are going to need to download the Chargenmorph compiler from Nexus. It's going to look a little something like this. This is used for any kind of appearance mods that you may want to use, such as hair, skin, makeup, all of that jazz. So with Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, each appearance mod is going to come with its own Chargenmorph file with the coding for it for your game. However, the kicker here is that you can only have one Chargenmorph file for each game. What this does is this will compile all of the Chargenmorph files that come within your mods and it'll just slap it into one for you. Don't worry, we're going to jump into this later. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Now I just need you to do your due diligence for me. Go into Files, go to Manual Download, download this sucker, And once you have it, I need you to unzip this, and I need you to put this entire folder somewhere where you will be able to remember where it is. I would even say go as far as to be like, maybe you should pin it to your quick access, but that's just me. So as you can tell, in my Documents, BioWare, and Dragon Age folder, I have put my Chargenmorph compiler right here. So it's really easy for me to be able to come in here and find it because I'm always in these folders because this is where my override folder is. So once again, put this sucker where you will be able to find it easier for later because we are going to be coming back here very, very soon. Now, before we start getting crazy and adding 500 mods to your game, we're going to start slow. I know that's easier said than done, but if you add too many mods when you're first starting, it makes it really difficult to troubleshoot if anything goes wrong. So take my advice, heed my words, and start slow and test the waters before diving right in. So when it comes to finding mods, your number one place is going to be Nexus Mods. It should look something like this if you're on the Dragon Age homepage. Because Dragon Age is an older game, I would recommend sticking with a trusted source and downloading them all from Nexus. There are a couple of other places like on Tumblr and other websites, but I would say if you're a beginner, just stick to Nexus first before you dive into other sites. Now on the Nexus website, I highly recommend making an account, and once you've done that and you're logged in, you can start finding mods that you want in your game. I would recommend starting with 2 to 3 mods to begin with. I'm going to, in the description, link the couple of mods that we're going to be downloading and installing via this tutorial. So if you want to follow along with those particular mods, you absolutely can. But once you've found a mod that you want to download, there's a couple of things that you need to do before you start getting too crazy with everything. First things up is I need you to read the details and the post. Do not skip this part. I mean it. I'm looking at you. Don't skip this part. I know it's so tempting to just blaze through and start downloading, but the creators of the mods often put so many important details in their description and in their requirements. This is really important if you don't want to be downloading a bunch of mods that are going to kind of like contradict each other, because that is how you get fucked up games. Trust me when I say this. Read your description, read your requirements, and then if you're an extra case and you want to do more stuff, go into your posts and read what the creators have put here as well, because this is once again going to give you so much more information that you might not be getting from other places. And then last things up, once you've done your due diligence, you've found your mod, you've read your description, you've read the requirements, and you've looked at the post, what I need you to do is to come over here and I need you to click track for me. Click track, because once you click track and you go up to mods and tracked mods, you're going to have all of the mods that you've tracked on Nexus for Dragon Age in a nice little list. This is going to make it easier when you want to find your mods in the future, if you want to be able to see which ones you've downloaded, what dates you've downloaded, all of them. Thankfully, most of the time, because this is an older game, you don't need to do a lot of updating the way you do with like Baldur's Gate 3, but it's still good to have everything tracked in case you want to go back and look at stuff in the future. So once again, quick rundown, description, requirements, posts, track, you're all good. All right, now let's move on to the next step. So before we jump into actually installing all of the mods that we just went and found and tracked, we first need to do what's called a memory leak fix so that your game doesn't crash, freeze, or lag. So this is an older game. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's an older game. And when you start adding mods to it, you're going to get a lot of memory leaks, which are going to create like really bad crashes, really bad lagging within your game. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fix all of that so that you can mod your game to whatever extent you want and not have to deal with your game like freaking the hell out. This is a bit of a process, but it is unfortunately mandatory. So if you want your game to run properly without like crashing or lagging or freeze every 2 seconds, then follow these steps for me, okay? So if your Dragon Age Origins game is already downloaded through Steam, what you need to do is you need to download an alternative DAOrigins.exe file from Nexus and a memory patch from NT Core. So let's go through and I'm going to walk you through the process of downloading these and installing these. So first things up is the new Origins game file. I need you to come here to Frosty's Updated for Steam, and I need you to come down to Files, and I need you to manually download this for me. Okay, that should be sitting in your download folder, so we're going to come back to that in a second. The next thing I need you to download is the 4 GB patch from NT Core. The website should look a little something like this. Once again, everything will be in the description, so if you need to access it, just go down there to check it out. But once you're on this website, you just need to come over here, click download the 4 GB patch, and then boom, it will be in your downloads folder. So let's walk through the process of actually using these things that we just downloaded. Now, first step is we want to, before we start like replacing and fixing everything, we're going to want to actually back up our DA origins file. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to locate our bin ship folder. So we do that by coming into Windows C, go into Program Files. Then I need you to find your Steam folder, then Steam Apps, then Common, then Dragon Age Ultimate Edition, and then here you should have something that looks a little similar to this, and you're going to find your bin ship folder for me. So click that. You're going to need to come back to this a lot because this little thing in here, this DA updater, is how we're going to do DA zip files, which we'll get to in the future. But because of that, I need you to come here and pin this to your quick access, okay? Once you've done that, I need you to take this application right here, this DA Origins. I need you to copy, and then I need you to paste this somewhere outside of your Dragon Age folders. I will usually just do this in my documents. I'll just go to my documents, and then I'll just paste it right here. It's asking me to replace it because I've already done this part, so I'm just going to click out of that. But if you haven't done this already, you won't get this like little pop-up. But that's what I need you to do. I need you to create a copy and then post that somewhere else in case something happens. We always have a backup. Always create backups, friends. Always create backups. So now that we have our bin ship folder all pinned to quick access, we are ready to replace this DA origins file right here. So now what I need you to do is I need you to open up that Frosty's DAO.exe file that you downloaded from Nexus. So go ahead and open that up for me. And now what I need you to do is I need you to take that and put it into your bin ship folder. You are going to get a pop-up that asks you if you want to replace it. Yes, you want to replace this. So click replace file, and then there you go. You're done. You replaced your DA origins with the one from Frosty, and now we can move on to the next step. Okay, the next step is to go back to your downloads and find that 4 GB patch, and I need you to extract this as well. Once you've extracted it, you should have a folder that looks a little something like this with this application in it. So what I need you to do is double click this. You'll probably get a pop-up that asks if you want to open it. Just say yes. And then you're going to get this nice little window here. And what we're going to do is we're going to locate that DA origins file that we just replaced. Now mine is already showing up for me, which is really nice, but yours might not do that. However, if you did your due diligence and you did what I told you to do and you pinned it to your quick access, you should be able to find it over here. So what you can do is go into your quick access over here, go into bin ship, and then boom, you have it right here. So now what I need you to do is I need you to double click this DA origins, or you can just click it and do open if that's easier for you. And then there you go. You have successfully patched your game file. Now we're going to do that one more time. So what I need you to do is you can click OK, but I would recommend clicking another file for me. Now what we're going to do is do that entire process, but we're going to do it with the launcher instead. So you should still be in bin ship. If you're not, go back to your quick access, click bin ship, and then go back one folder so you're just in your Dragon Age Ultimate Edition folder. When you scroll down, you should see your DA Origins launcher here. So we're going to fix this now. We're going to do the same exact thing. So you can double click it or click it and click open. And then it was successfully patched. Now you can click OK, and that step is done. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so now what we're going to do is the next step is we're going to configure our game options. So what I need you to do is I need you to load up Dragon Age Origins for me. And when you get the launcher here, I need you to go over here to configure. This is going to bring up the Dragon Age Origins configuration utility window. Once you are here, I need you to go over to this section right here under welcome. You should see video. Once you've clicked video, I need you to set everything to the max settings according to what your computer is and what your resolution is. This is what mine is set at, so you can copy mine if you want. Otherwise, I'm just going to trust that you know what to do for your computer. Now, once you've set all of your video settings up to whatever works for your computer, you're going to come over here to Dragon Age Origins up at the top. You're going to click Save Settings, and then you can close out of this. Now, with our video settings all done, what I need you to do is load up the game for me. Once the game is loaded, I need you to come over to Options. Then, once you're in Options, click the Audio tab up at the top. And then I need you to change the sound effects, the music, and the dialogue volume. I keep it at kind of an even 5, but I found that other users have done like 5 to 6 with good results. So set your volumes down just a tad, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is we need to run the DAO updaters. So make sure that your game is completely closed, and once your game is closed, we're going to need to find the Redis folder within the main Dragon Age Ultimate Edition folder. So for ease of being able to find what this folder is, I need you to come over to your bin ship, which you've pinned to quick access, right? Once you've done that, go back one to Dragon Age Ultimate Edition. Right here, you should be able to see Redis. So click that Redis folder for me. And then what you're going to do is you're going to see this update add-ins XML Steam and then the DAU service setup Steam. So what you're going to do is you're going to double click both of those. Once you get the completed, close out of it, do the next one. You're going to get a pop-up that says whether you want to make changes to your device, click yes. Once that's done and it's completed, click close. And there you have it. Your game's memory should be completely fixed. A really good way of being able to test this is once you've installed your mods, go into your character creator and start messing around. Once you've messed around a little bit in your character creator, that's kind of where the game gets overloaded, at least from my experience. So you're going to be able to see whether your memory leak is, like the patch is working, because you're going to be able to mess around with your character, use all the hair, the makeup, whatever it is that you've downloaded, and your game's not going to crash. If your game crashes, something's wrong. If it doesn't, you're good to go. So just a quick tip before we continue on. If you find that despite doing all of these steps, your game is still freezing and crashing when you enter into the city of Denerim, what I need you to do is I need you to lower your graphics. It shouldn't make too much of a difference visually, but it's going to clear up some of the memory when it comes to doing quests and doing stuff within Denerim, because Denerim is such a much bigger map than the rest of the game. So you can do that by going into your options while you're playing, going into the video tab, and then changing these graphic details down just a smidge. Whatever makes sense for you and your computer, but you shouldn't be able to really notice too much of a difference. But once you've done that, you'll notice that you won't have any crashes or weird lagging when you're in Denerim doing stuff. Okay, so here comes the fun part, downloading your actual mods. So there are a few foundational mods that I would highly recommend downloading, but for the most part, every Dragon Age Origins mod comes in 2 different formats. It's going to come in either a DAZIP file or an override folder file. So let's break down each one and talk about how to install them. So the first one we're going to talk about is the DAZIP files. So DAZIP files are fairly easy to install within the game. You just need to know where to find the updater. So within your folders, I'm going to need you to go back to that folder that I had you pinned to quick access, your bin ship folder. When you are here, you're going to notice that you see a DA updater. Double click that for me. Now this right here, this little content updater, is how you're going to add in the DAZIP files into your game. So let's go download a DAZIP file and install it. So we're going to start with Quinn's Ultimate DAO Fix Pack. This is just basically a bug fix. I highly recommend it. I think it's kind of one of the more foundational ones that everybody should have, whether you want to get crazy with mods or not. So we're going to come to this page. We're going to go to Files, and we're going to go to the very first one. We're going to manually download it. Now, once you've downloaded the fix pack and you've extracted it, you should get something that looks a little something like this. Now, you can do the README and all of that stuff, but the file that we really need to be looking at is this one right here. You're going to be able to tell if it's a DAZIP file because the file path is going to end with the DAZIP. So that's how you know that it needs to be installed this way. So what we're going to do is, now that we've extracted it, we are going to take that DAZIP file and we're going to drag and drop it into that content updater. And it should look a little something like this. Now, in order to install it, what you need to do is you need to highlight it, and you can do this with a bunch at a time. You don't have to do one DAZIP file at a time. If you're like mass downloading, you can do a bunch, but just for the ease of showing you how to do it, we're just going to do one for now. But once you've highlighted it and it is blue, click Install Selected. And you should see the green kind of going forward. It says it's installing. Once it says installed, then you're all done. Now you know that you've installed the DAZIP file successfully. Now we can load up the game and make sure that's actually in the game properly. So now that we have the game loaded, what we can do is we can come to the main menu and we can go to downloadable content. Once you've clicked downloadable content, go over to installed content. And this is where you should see a lot of like the DLC stuff that you've downloaded, but it's also where you're going to find your DAZIP files that you've downloaded. I have a lot, but besides that, if you're scrolling down, we should be able to see Quinn's Ultimate Fix Pack. There it is. Boom. Now we know that it's enabled and we installed it correctly, and it should be working in our game with no issues at all. If you have decided that, hey, I downloaded this DAZIP file and I'm not really vibing with it, I don't really want it in my game, what you can do is you can unclick it and disable it right there. And so now Quinn's Ultimate Fix Pack isn't going to show up in my game with that unchecked. Now, let's say you've downloaded a DAZIP file and you don't want it in your game at all. You don't even want it like disabled in your list. You want it completely eradicated from your game, destroyed and blown up. I got you. I'm going to show you how to do that. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to locate your add-ins folder within your documents. So if you've pinned your override folder, an easy way to do that is to go back to Dragon Age. So you can go override, core, packages, Dragon Age. Once you are in your Dragon Age folder, at the very top, you're going to see add-ins. If you double click that, this is all of the folders of every single DAZIP file that you have downloaded and installed into your game. So let's say I'm not vibing with Quinn's Fix Pack. I don't want it anymore. I would come down here, I would click this, and I would just delete the entire folder. Now you're not even going to see it in your game. You can't enable or disable. It's completely gone from your game. So this is just a nice little tip in case you downloaded a DAZIP file and it's messing up stuff, or you just don't want to look at it anymore. This is how you would get rid of it from your game completely. Okay, so we covered the DAZIP file mods. Now let's move into the override file mods. So remember that nice little override folder that we created at the beginning of this tutorial, and the one that you pinned to quick access because you're a good student who does what they're supposed to do? Well, that's exactly where these mods are going to go. And the best part is all you have to do is download your mod from Nexus, unzip it, and drag and drop it into this override folder. Pretty easy, huh? I know. But we're going to walk you through the process despite how easy it is. So let's get into it. Okay, so the mod that we're going to choose to test out this override folder mods is we're going to do the map replacer here. So once you're here and you're on Nexus, go to Files, go to Manual Download, and download that sucker for me. So once that file has been downloaded and you've got the mod, you're going to double click it for me and you're going to open it up. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our override folder and we're going to just take that entire folder and we're going to drag and drop it. And then boom, that's it. That's all you have to do. Now we can load up the game and check to see if our map has been successfully replaced. So now that we're in our game, let's double check to see that our world map has successfully been replaced. So we're going to pull up our map, we're going to go to the world map, and boom, there you go. Our override file mod worked, it's successful, all is right in the world. So let's jump into the Chargenmorph compiler and talk about how to do the appearance mods next. Okay, so the next step is we're going to talk about the appearance mods and the Chargenmorph file that we talked about at the beginning of this tutorial. So I'm going to choose this mod right here, the Delicious Skin Tints mod. And when you are looking at mods on Nexus, one of my favorite features is that you can come into files and you can click this preview file content so that you can see exactly what it is that you're getting when you download. So you're going to notice right here that this mod has a Chargenmorph file in it, which means that it's going to be able to be compiled and picked up with that compiler that we downloaded and put safely at the beginning of this video. So once again, let's download this sucker and we're going to show you how to actually compile everything once you've downloaded it. So as always, once you've got your mod downloaded, what you're going to do is you're going to take it, you're going to drag and drop it into your override folder. Mine's asking to replace it because I've already downloaded this mod. Yours won't do that if you haven't, so that's just a little heads up. But I'm going to replace this so that I have that Chargenmorph file. So once you click this, you're going to see you have a Chargenmorph right here. So now what we need to do is we're going to locate our Chargenmorph application. We're going to open that up. So if you put it where I told you to put it, which was somewhere safe, go and find that for me now. So I put mine in my Dragon Age folder. So I'm going to go into my Chargenmorph compiler folder and I'm going to open up this application. Now this little pop-up is what you're going to get here. We're not doing 2, we are only doing Origins, so make sure that one's checked and click OK. Now if this is the first time you have ever opened this Chargenmorph compiler, what it's going to do is it's going to bring up a path configuration for you. So you need to just make sure that when you've created your override folders that it's directing them to the right path. So I can see right here that it is directing correctly, and you'll also be able to tell if it's pulling your mods from the right place, because when you're in the compiler tab, you're going to see the extra Chargenmorph files. So like we just downloaded the Delicious Skin Tints mod, and it's already picking up that we have an extra Chargenmorph file in there. So, but if you haven't, and this is your first time, just make sure that your paths are set correctly so that the compiler will pick them up from the right folder. So once you've set your game path and you've got it all good, your compiler should look a little something similar to this. Now, if this is your first time using the compiler, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you make the software create a brand new Chargenmorph file for you, and it's going to toss that right into your main override folder. And you can do that by clicking this Generate Default button right here. I'm not going to do that because I've already done that, but if this is your first time, go ahead and click that for me and follow all of the prompts that it brings up. Now that particular step only needs to be done once. Every time after that, when you load this compiler, it's going to just do everything for you automatically. It's going to throw in all of the compiled ones into the one that it generated by default. So you only need to do this the very first time. You don't need to do it every time after that. Now, once we've got all that done, every time when you load up your compiler, you should immediately see this screen right here with a list of all of the Chargenmorph files from the mods that you have added to your override folder. So what we now need to do is we need to compile them. So what you're going to want to do is you can scan also. That's always an option if you feel like maybe it's not picking up every single download that you've put in your override folder, but it is picking up the only one I have just downloaded. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click compile conflicting Chargenmorph files into a singular one. So click this little button for me. And it's going to automatically do everything for you. And once it's finished, you're going to get a little pop-up that is going to now take you to the reference tab. So click OK. Now we are in the references tab. So at this point, you're going to want to scan all of your files for any possible bad references that could be messing up your game. So in order to do that, what we're going to have to click is this Remove Bad References button right here at the bottom. Once you get your little pop-up, click Yes. And we've seen that it removed 2 references that were removed, anything that could possibly harm our game. So click OK. And that's it. You did it. You compiled all of your Chargenmorph files and your appearance mods should show up successfully into your game. So we can go check that out right now. Now with our Chargenmorph files all installed and compiled, we can come into the character creator. We can just go into the skin, and we can see that, boom, we've got all of these skin options. I have a lot more skin options. I'm just letting you know, if you've only downloaded 1 or 2, it's not going to look as much, but this would be the place to check it. And this is also a great place to check if your memory leak is working, because if you're doing this in your game, it shouldn't be crashing. If it crashes, it means your memory leak isn't working. But my memory leak is working, my mods are working, all is right in the world, so now we can move on to the next step. Because you're here and we're already in the mode of tutorials, I'm going to show you how to actually update your Chargenmorph compiler manually, because sometimes you're going to come to a mod and you're going to see that it doesn't have a Chargenmorph file in it, which means that you have to manually add in everything yourself. So I'm going to show you how to do that just in case you ever run into one, because you know what, if you teach your man to fish and all of that jazz. So in order to edit your Chargenmorph file, what you're going to do is you're going to go into your main override folder. And you're going to scroll all the way down until you find your Chargenmorph file, which is right here. Now you're going to right click that and you're going to open with Notepad. And it should look a little something like this. Now we're going to use this cute dwarf morphs mod as kind of an example. So what we're going to do is they are saying under heads, find dwarf females and add the presets to the bottom of the list. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to copy those and we're going to open up that notepad that we were just looking at, and we're going to go, and we know we're under heads. So now we just need to find dwarf female. Now I've already added them here, but just for, showing you, this is typically what it will look like if it's not added. So we found dwarf female. So what we're going to do is we're going to press enter. We're going to paste that sucker there. We're going to make sure everything is kind of aligned and all nice and neat. And then we're going to file, save, and then we can close out of this. Okay, so now that we have our Chargenmorph file completely updated manually, what we need to do is we need to download this mod and add it into our override folder the same way that we've been doing this entire video. So all you need to do is you need to go into your cute dwarf presets, download. This one has the Chargenmorph file because it has all of the mods, but we're going to download it and not use the Chargenmorph file just so that you can see what it looks like. Okay, so we now have downloaded the cute dwarf presets, and all we need is these 3 mop files. So I've already created a little folder in my override, but here, I'm going to show you. We're going to go in here, we're going to click that, we're going to click this, and we're going to bring these over right here. I am going to replace them, but if you're new, this is not a replacement, okay? So we have got these 3 in here. We have edited our Chargenmorph filer. So now all we need to do is load up the game and see if they are added into our presets for our cute little dwarf ladies. And so now we have our game loaded. All we need to do is go check into our little dwarf lady, go to presets, and then go all the way to the end, and boom, there we go. They have been added into the game successfully, so now you know how to do it manually. If you are struggling with not having a Chargenmorph file or just wanting to go in and kind of test out and do things manually yourself, you now have the tools and the resources to do it. Okay, babies, the last and final step for modding your Dragon Age game is to make console commands visible and to add them into your game. So this one is also a little bit of a process, and it is technically optional, but I highly recommend it, and I would go so far as to say that you should do this. You should do this. It's going to come in handy. So console commands are the way for you to add in certain outfits. That's usually how I use it, or to add in certain items, or to do certain cheat codes within your game. The kicker is that you can't see them just by changing a couple of things in your coding. You need to download this make console commands visible so that you can see exactly what you're typing out when you are trying to add in a command. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So first thing, we're going to do a test mod so that you can kind of see what it looks like. So I'm literally hand holding you through this entire process. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the Witcher 3 wardrobe, and we're going to download this sucker. Okay, and you know the drill. Take your little fancy folder and drag and drop that into your override. Okay, so once you've downloaded that mod and it's been stuffed nice and neat into your override folder, we're going to come back here and we're going to make console commands visible by downloading this mod here. So go ahead and download that for me, and we're going to get things updated. So I need you to open this up, and what you're going to see is you're going to see this fonts.erf file. So what you're going to do is I need you to open up your data folder. So if you are in your override folder, all you need to do is go back to core. And once you are in your core folder, you're going to see data right here up at the top. Click that for me. This font file right here is what we are replacing. So you know the drill. Take, drag, and drop. It's going to ask you if you want to replace it. Say yes. And then there you go. Now You should be able to see your console commands and they should be visible. However, we have to now enable them in order to be able to see them. So that's the next step that we're going to work on. So once we've updated the fonts file and we've replaced it all successfully, we now need to go into our data folder and find the Dragon Age Origins launcher file. So that is going to be in your bin ship. So go back to bin ship for me. And then I'm going to need you to go back one to Dragon Age Ultimate Edition. Once you are in your Dragon Age Ultimate Edition, I need you to locate your data folder. And then you're going to see the DAOrigins launcher file right here. Now this is an XML file, but I'm going to need you to open it in a notepad for me. So right click it, open with, and then click notepad. And you're going to get a bunch of text here. Don't be scared. I'm going to walk you through this. You're going to need to change some coding in here to be able to enable the console commands in the first place so that you can see them. So what we're going to do is that in the description, you're going to find a line of code that you're going to need to search for me. So once you're in your DAOrigins launcher, I'm going to need you to click Control F, and it's going to bring up this little pop-up box here to be able to find. Now take that little line of coding that's in the description and paste it for me. Once you've clicked enter, it should highlight blue exactly where you need to edit. Now yours is going to look a little bit different. Yours will not have this right here. This is what you are adding. So what you're going to do is that when you're doing this for the first time, this is what it should look like to you. Now, once again, in the description, you're going to copy and you're going to paste right after true. You're going to paste this right here, arguments, enable developer console. All you need to do is just add that right after the true, and then click out of this, click save, and then there you go. You're done. You've enabled your console commands, and now we can test it out and see if it worked. Now with our game loaded and with our Witcher mod added into our override folder, we can test this little console command out. So most of the time when you are downloading, especially like armor or any kind of clothing, in the description, which is why this is important to check the description, you're going to see the run script codes. These are what you are adding into the console commands. So because we downloaded this, we're going to test out the Ciri outfit. So we're going to do run script space TW3 underscore Ciri, and we're going to add that into our game. So in order to enable the console command, once you are in your game, you're going to press the tilde key, which is that little squiggle right next to the 1 on the left upper hand side of your keyboard. Once you click that, you should see up in this corner right here, there is a little caret. Now we can type in our little run script code. Once you've typed it out, click enter, and then boom, you should be able to see right there that it was added into our inventory. So now we can add our inventory and we see Ciri's outfit. We can double click and then boom, look, we've got a nice fancy new outfit. Look at us. Look at us, we did it. And now you can do that for any other like outfit mod that you have downloaded and added into your override folder. Now, because I'm a Virgo and I am extra, I'm going to give you a nice little tip. Now, if you're like me and you like to play Origins and you want to replay it a lot, sometimes it can get annoying to go back to every single Nexus mod page and find out what the scripts are. So what I would recommend doing is creating a notepad of all of the scripts that you have that you can use based on the mods that you have downloaded. And then what I would do is I would keep that into your override folder. So I have mine right at the bottom right here. So it's Dragon Age Origins outfit scripts. And when you click that, this is what comes up. And that way I always have it easily accessible and I've got all of the run script codes in one place so that I can literally just boom, 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 add them one right after the other as soon as I start a new game. So yeah, you don't have to do this, but I figured I'd just share it as a nice fun little tip in case you want to keep things nice and organized when you're adding in your outfits. And there you have it, friends. Your Dragon Age Origins game is officially ready to be modded and played. I hope this guide was helpful. I know it was a lot, but I really hope that I was able to kind of hold your hand through the whole thing and I made it a little less daunting. And more than anything, I hope you have so much fun playing this game. It is my absolute favorite. I adore this game. I've played through it several times, and I hope you get to have as much fun as I have, especially with modding. It changes the entire experience and just makes it so much more enjoyable. So yeah. I hope that this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you need any advice or if you need any more info. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.